Good morning, everybody. It's very nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation to this conference. And I'm talking about METSO program. That is our voluntary forest conservation program in Finland. First, I tell some basic things about the program, and then I talk about landowner cooperation in the program. Okay. Yeah. The main goal of METSO is to halt the ongoing decline in forest species and habitats and establish favorable trends in forest biodiversity. The last operating year of this METSO program we have now is this year, but the next METSO phase is being prepared, and we hope it starts in the beginning of next year. It's now in a political process, so we don't have the decisions yet, but hopefully soon. But METSO will continue as it's now. The core is the voluntary conservation, voluntary nature management. The program is coordinated by two ministries, Ministry of the Environment, Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, and it's a state-funded program. The most concrete actions of METSO is to increase the network of protected areas, 96,000 hectares that has been achieved last year. And the other one is to safeguard biodiversity on 82,000 hectares of commercially managed forests. That's 80% is achieved, but we just then continue next year. But METSO is much more than just conservation or nature management. There are other elements as well: research, monitoring, communications, education. It promotes collaboration between different sectors and landowners, stakeholders. METSO measures are implemented by the regional environmental and forest authorities. We have three options for permanent protection. First is private nature reserve. That means that area is protected, but ownership remains. That is important to many Finnish forest owners, that they still own the land. Compensation is based on timber value. Landowner can sell area for the state, then also the value of the land is taken into account. Land exchange is not much used because it's difficult to find suitable state land for exchange, because most of state-owned lands are located in the north. For temporary conservation, the most common option is forestry environmental aid contract that is for 10 years, but it can be, and very often is, renewed. Compensation is mostly based on timber value, but not the whole value, because it's a temporary contract. And now with the new subsidy system we have, it's also possible to get some bonus if there is a lot of decaying wood on the site. Temporary nature reserve for 20 years, that's not much used measure. Then nature management projects are planned by the forest authorities, and those projects they enhance the valuable features of forest habitats, for example, management of herb-rich forests. Oftentimes these projects involve several owners and forest holdings. There are no direct costs or compensation paid for the owner. there are 10 habitat types that are especially favored for protection in METSO program. Most common is heath forests with high biodiversity, often old growth forests, abundant deadwood. Another quite common habitat type is wooded mares and open mares with forest margins. METSO has selection criteria. They are quite, or at least to some extent, also flexible. But all these habitat types have their own criteria. And they also include 3 quality classes that are mainly based on structural elements like deadwood or tree species composition. Of course, it's good if there are, for example, certain species or larger areas, connectivity, located close to other protected areas. Social criteria like scenery or recreation can also taken into account to some extent, but the core is the ecological values. So there are 2 ministries. They have their own separate budget for METSO, and regional authorities who then implement the measures. Forest owner can offer the site for protection, contact to the authorities, or mainly, forest sector, it now goes through other service providers who help owners with the applications. Offering a site does not obligate the owner to do the contract, so they negotiate, and if both sides agree, they enter into contract or a purchase. And of course, the authorities check that the criteria are fulfilled. METSO is also a tool to reach the EU biodiversity strategy targets. METSO permanent protection is strict protection, and old growth forest protection in private lands is done through METSO program. METSO also contributes to other effective area-based conservation measures. Forest to environmental aid contracts are now this year reported to NATDA database as OECM areas. National restoration plan is under preparation in Finland, and METSO nature management is one tool in that. And METSO targets will be updated in 2030 to better fit to the restoration plan when it's completed. We also have Helmi Habitats program that is focused on restoration. That's quite large program, and these are a little bit overlapping. Okay. Then let's go to the forest owner participation. I would like to start about forest owners' objectives to own forests. We have done every 10 years a nationwide survey to Finnish forest owners, and this is the most recent one, 2020. We found 5 groups: multi-objective owners who emphasize many benefits from forests, economic, but also nature conservation, recreation. Recreationists, they emphasize nature protection, scenery, recreation. Providers see important outdoor recreation work opportunities, security and income seekers, emphasize economic benefits and regular sales income. Then there are owners who don't have any specific objectives for their forest ownership. From the same survey, we asked what kind of measures forest owners would like to use to protect biodiversity in their own forests. Nature management, taking nature values specifically into account in forest management practices, almost 60%. Fixed-term contract with compensation, about 40%. Permanent protection, 1/3. Then set aside a forest area without contract, without compensation, 19%, as also selling land for the state. So it's very much dependent on the characteristics of the measure, how willing the owners are to implement the measures. This study was a survey to owners who have entered into METSO forestry environmental aid contract, so this 10 years contract. How important different things were for them when they made that decision. Protecting biodiversity, very important. Then safeguarding nature values for future generations, so kind of over-generational thinking, so that fixed-term agreement do not bind the next generation. Recreation, financial compensation, quite important as well. Then, yes, we see that forest owners are a very heterogeneous group, diverse characteristics, life situation, motives, objectives. So we need many kind of measures to safeguard forest biodiversity so that they fit to owners' situation. Voluntary participation is the key for acceptability. Compensation, yes, important. Kind of the sense of fairness of protection. Trust, very crucial. Forest professionals play a very important role because they are the ones who, at least in Finland, are connected with the owners. They talk and they are in contact with other forest management topics. So many people then do what the professionals say. And it's important that they bring up also conservation points. Communication with many ways. Sharing peer experiences are important. We have found it very, very good way that, for example, some on the webpage, some interviews of owners who have done METSO contract. Positive approach in communication is essential. There is so many pressures towards the owners. There is biodiversity, timber production, climate change. So it's good to bring something like empower them. You can do things that enhance biodiversity in your forest. Also, it should be easy for the owner to make the initiative to contact the authorities. Targeted outreach is a useful tool if it's needed to find offers from a specific area or specific habitat type. We also use this kind of donation software that is for site selection and marketing. However, we haven't used that much now because we in general have more offers than funding to make the contracts. Of course, not all owners are aware of the possibilities of voluntary conservation. We in Finland, at least, we are going all the time towards digital services from personal advice. So there is also differences how willing or able owners are to use these e-services. Even we are talking about landowner cooperation, it has to start from the policy level, from the ministry level, that the different sectors talk and discuss about things. The authorities, stakeholders, also like municipalities, state land administrators should be involved to make it go through the whole system. It's important to consider forest owners' views, and they also can change in time. One point is that, well, METSO uses conservation instruments that were there already before the program. For example, the subsidy system and private conservation area. So there were the legislation, the authorities, the organizations who did this work. Just the approach was changed voluntary, and then the criteria were created. It makes it easier to implement on larger scale. Of course, there are also regulatory constraints that may limit the flexibility. We have used also regional pilots that bring new actors, new innovations. It's good, but sometimes it's difficult to then implement them on larger scale. Then we have research and monitoring that is important, and then between practice and research we have projects developing nature management and cooperation networks that are usually 2-3 years projects that are ministry funded. They create new operating methods, and guidance materials have been very important. Voluntary conservation program needs quite a lot of things around it, like infrastructure, also training, education. Data resources are also important. We have National Forest Inventory, so we get information how our forest develops, what happens there. Forest resource data is available for all forest owners for free in e-service. There is also suggestions on METSO sites and other recommendations. Species data, that's important to have as well, but there is, of course, things to do still. Mainstreaming biodiversity considerations to all steps, that is very important to make it like the normal way. But all this increased dialogue, education, communication, cooperation, monitoring is very important and crucial, but also it demands resources and time. A final evaluation of METSO program this far was published this year. There is the link for it. It's well in Finnish, but only I think the abstract in English. Yeah, I think I have used my time. So, METSO is widely accepted positive brand in Finland, and well, it will be continued. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Terhi. That was really interesting. Obviously, some of those things that we've been talking about today, the trust, you know, the transparency, the simplicity as well. Nearly fell off the stage then. The simplicity, etc., is fine. Colleagues who are keeping the timing thing, we're a bit confused at this end of the stage with the timing. Can we reset the timer for the next session, please? Because I think I was getting confused with the timing. Were you?
I thought I have like,
Yeah.
If there is 10 minutes left, then I have talked 20 minutes. But I don't know if
Yeah, no, it just seemed a bit weird.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So, first of all, do we have any microphones for the audience? Yeah. So while you're thinking about your questions, I believe we have something very interesting on Mentimeter. So I'm going to hand it back over to Andres because he's in charge of the technology.
We have several ways to raise the questions, and one came not through the Mentimeter, but actually virally, finding my social account. And the question is behind that picture. You ended your presentation nicely with Capercaillie, and the question was that it's quite expensive program and moves too slowly, and is it opportunities to see some kind of improvement of that program in the near future?
No? Yeah. Yeah, that's true, that the resources are not enough. There is more offers from the owners than we have had resources to make the contracts, also human resources. That's a difficult question, I know. Hopefully we can find a way to solve this.
Yeah, you might want to listen to our next speaker, actually, because he has some pretty good ideas about how to upscale. Okay, can we put the Mentimeter on the scale? Is there any? Have we got any questions from the audience? Would you like to just put your hand in the air if there's a question directly from the audience, and we'll get a microphone over to you. If not, thank you for your activity on Mentimeter. Okay, question. Terhi. Current METSO program runs to 0825. Whether new stage will be for the same period, another 17 years, or different?
Well, in the new METSO program, it's suggested until 2040. Yeah, but we don't have the actual decision yet, but hopefully this year.
And is there a gap between the programs?
No. We hope there won't be.
Okay, very good, because once you've built trust, it's easy to remove it. Okay.
Yeah. But first, the targets will be set until 2030, and when we get the restoration plan, national plan ready, then METSO targets can be updated.
Great, so it's going to feed into
that.
The restoration
plan.
So
it's kind of two parts in the program.
So thank you for the question, wherever that came from. What happens after the 10 to 20 years of temporary conservation if the forest owner then cuts the forest and the investment vanishes? Great question.
Yes. Basically, the owner can do what he or she wants after the term. Oftentimes, however, those contracts include Forest Act key habitats that are not allowed to change. Many owners are willing to continue the contract, so oftentimes it doesn't stop in 10 years. It has been also kind of stepping stone towards permanent conservation in some cases. And one point is that many our forest owners, well, the average age is 62, and many of them do not want to make a contract that then ties the next owner, and that's one reason why these temporary contracts have been popular.
Okay, and one final question is, how do you manage the Ministry of Forestry requirements against the Ministry of Environment requirements? How are the two ministries working together on this program?
Very closely. We have working groups where always both ministries are working together. However, in METSO program, these both ministries have their own budgets, so they come different way, and the measures how they implement METSO are different for the both sides.
Okay, we've got one question from the floor I'm going to take, and then I'm going to move on to the next speaker. So, Inga, please.
Thank you. I was wondering about the monitoring of the implementation of the measures there. Do you rely, are forest owners in charge of monitoring their own activities, or do you have the whole system in place where you have experts coming in and doing that?
Well, we every year publish monitoring report that we collect all the how many hectares, what kind of habitats, so follow how the program continues, how much money has been used, and all this kind of development project, what kind of results they have got. We don't monitor all the sites that has been already protected like yearly, but we have METSO research project where they have done inventories for different type of METSO contracts, and they found that the criteria work well, and they are in general high quality areas on like ecological point.
Okay, thanks. I'm sure that many of you do have other questions for Terhi, but she will be around, so please do find her in the breaks and everything. So please join me in a big thanks to our first speaker, Terhi. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Gary.